Hey, good morning, folks. We are firing things up here. Make sure you click the share button wherever you're watching, retweet, whatever you call it. We have a jam-packed show today. Lots to talk about, filled to the brim. We'd love to hear from you, too. You can join in on the phones or in the chat here. The behind-the-scenes live stream is what you're watching right now. The behind-the-scenes live stream. So we get two shows. You have West Michigan Live with Justin Barkley here, News Radio Wood 1300 and 106.9 FM. It's the fastest hour on radio. You'll get to see what happens behind the scenes here. That's your first time watching, your first time tuning in. Then we do an after show. It's a podcast we do live for you. All of it as we chat and have conversations during the commercial breaks, and you won't have to hear any of those. But we appreciate you being here with us. Thank you so much. Stand by, folks. We're going live in just moments.
Most to you in West Michigan. Join the conversation now at 616-774-2424. That's 616-774-2424. It's West Michigan Live with Justin Barkley on Wood Radio.
Welcome in, folks. The snow is falling like a little fantastical little snow globe here. High atop West Michigan, downtown Grand Rapids. Absolutely beautiful. Lots to cover today. The free state of Florida is where the big announcement will be happening a little bit later on this evening. I believe that's 9 p.m. Live from Mar-a-Lago. The FBI left behind it. Do you think anybody will be there watching for the FBI? Well, it'll be a big announcement.
News, weather, and traffic. And the biggest stories of the day. We're talking about what matters most in West Michigan and beyond. This is the Big Three.
Yep, here we go.
Now, today's Big Three.
As the stories that matter most, you'll be talking about these around the water cooler, the dinner table, no matter where you are. These are those stories. The Big Three, powered by our good friends at Heartland Home Mortgage. With creative solutions for each individual need. I'll put a little bit more money back in your pocket. We'll be talking more about this in the coming days like we have. We're looking at solutions, paying off some credit card debt. They can help you with that. Help you save thousands on your refi, whether or not you want to buy or not right now. Probably want to start with them. Give them a call first. It's 616-974-9105. Or go online to hhmlending.com and thank Dave Galloway and the team for their support here of this program.
Number one.
One of the most closely watched midterm races, Democrat Katie Hobbs, the woman who oversaw her own election, fraught with issues, now projected to be the winner by NBC. I saw she said, democracy is worth waiting for. It's interesting. That's what they call it. Carrie Lake tweeting, Arizonans know BS when they see it. Well, this is far from over. I mean, the whole process still has yet to play. There could be some sort of recount in Arizona. They have all these things that automatically trigger. And, of course, there are many questions about what happened on the day of the election, machine malfunctions, et cetera. We'll talk about that coming up.
Number two.
All of that and more in just moments. Trump announcing something big tonight. Yes, a lot of folks believe that he will be announcing that he's running in 2024. And, you know, a lot of back and forth on whether he should. You know, there's a lot of armchair quarterbacking these days. And particularly coming from certain individuals who've been quiet for a while now. And I know you may have an opinion on this yourself. Love to hear from you this morning. 616-774-2424. Here's one thing I'll say. Never count him out.
Number three.
House Republicans will pick their leadership today. It looks like they will take over the House. Kevin McCarthy is the favorite. But Arizona GOP Rep Andy Biggs, former chair of the conservative House Freedom Caucus, will challenge House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy. Scheduled to be taking place a little bit later on today, how that goes. But there's also a whip position that is in question as well. Lots of conversations as we continue to have those as well. Some of the biggest stories you're just not hearing anywhere else. We'll break them down for you, folks. Appreciate you being here with us. This is West Michigan Live. Oh, the crazy train. He's off the rails again. It is the first day of firearm deer season. Lots of folks in the tree stands. If you're listening quietly, maybe quietly from the tree stand, we appreciate you being here with us today. Perfect weather set for it. I think just gorgeous. Lots to discuss, and of course, lots on the agenda. Like I said, I want to talk to you. We'll go to the phone lines here this morning, coming up in a little bit. But first, I want to remind you, it is a Tech Tuesday coming up at 9:35. We'll discuss some of the bigger stories in tech. Layoffs at Twitter, we haven't talked about that, but Facebook's parent company, Meta, big layoffs. Amazon announcing layoffs. A lot of these, because the economy's so good. That's what they do when the economy is firing on all cylinders like it is. And of course, yeah, no, it's not Biden's fault. Not at all. None of this is his fault. Not at all. Don't you dare blame Biden of it. He doesn't even know where he is, let alone what state the economy's in. Leave the man alone. So this scene played out thousands of times all across Maricopa County, the county that went mostly looks like in the latest last drops for Katie Hobbs, the Secretary of State. They're overseeing her own election. She refused to recuse. She would not step down and let somebody else oversee the election. That alone is an issue. Then you hear about these over and over again. These voters disenfranchised. These are the folks who went day of mostly. These would be Republican. Most likely, these would be Carrie Lake voters. So what happened when they went to go vote that day?
Which one's been working better? Which one's working better?
One's as bad as the other.
Yeah, I thought so.
You are watching the live scenes behind this live stream right now on Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, Rumble. You can see
Keep pushing it.
I didn't insert the paper. This is the ballot. Goes into the scanner, spits it right back out.
Can I come over here now?
Does it one machine, then he goes to another machine, tries to insert it, spits it back out. There it goes again. Now, here's the real problem. When they couldn't get these things to scan, and they found later there was
the wrong
actually
person.
a printer, we've heard all kinds of excuses. But when they couldn't get these things to scan, do you know what they told these people to do? They told them
Which
to
one's been working
leave
better? Which
and
one's working
come back later or go to a different polling place.
Better.
So who knows how many people actually made it to another polling place? What type of disenfranchisement? And isn't it strange that there was no issue early voting, but on the day of elections, when Republicans were voting in mass, and by the way, Carrie Lake won day of election. She won big time. All of this, and mostly Republicans do, all of this that you see is the pattern that we've seen emerge, especially since 2020, that Republicans would be ahead late into the night, and then eventually we would have these mass drops. And, look, folks, fraud, mail-in, whatever you want to call it, a lot of the Democrat game was focused around these mail-in ballots. Their voters won't come stand in line, but they will sit and fill out a ballot, or they'll sign their name on one that's already been pre-filled out for them. The game is, we've had conversation about this in the last couple of, we'll continue to have these conversations, but the game's completely been changed. And it doesn't matter who's running. It doesn't matter what the messaging is. It doesn't matter any of these things that people want to get into the weeds on. What matters, particularly in these states where you have this mass mail-in absentee, Michigan, Pennsylvania, Arizona, these are these big states. All of this came through in 2020 because they changed the way they did business. Now, it started in 2018. They started to monkey with this. They lost big in 2016. Let me give you the history. Don't forget. Let's go back as we continue to have conversations about, should President Trump run? Should he not? What will the announcement be tonight? What does this all look like moving forward? Don't forget, Hillary Clinton was supposed to win in 2016. She was the favorite. She was the darling. And when Trump won, it shocked the world. So you remember the plan went into effect 2018 is when they started really tweaking and working on this mail-in ballot issue. 2020, they rolled it out in mass to everyone via the convenient, coincidental COVID conundrum and the chaos we faced. But we had to. We had to. We couldn't just have people. Everybody was going to the store. You're going to the big box store. You're going to Meijer. You're going to the hardware store. You're going to all these other places. You're touching gas pumps. Remember Whitmer said, yeah, you don't touch the gas pumps because, oh, my goodness, you touch those gas, but you're all going to die. You're going to get the COVID.
Let's get back to normal.
You remember that, right? We were going out doing all those other things, but God forbid we go to the voting booth in person. Everyone must vote via mail. Remember, that's what, by the way, it wasn't just in Michigan. It was all over the country. This is where this whole thing was introduced. And Democrats have now pulled it off again. They have won the Senate. At least the projections say that they will. Control the Senate. Conveniently. And as Katie Hobbs says, democracy is worth waiting for. Just remember, democracy doesn't mean what she wants you to think it means. It means something completely different. It means of government, Democrats' control of government, and ultimately power. All right, folks. Yeah, don't whatever you do, keep your kids off the playgrounds. We got to tape those up. You cannot buy seeds in the stores. No, don't do any of that. Remember all that? Yeah, all of that. God forbid you actually vote in person. We don't want that to happen. We'll get into all of this. By the way, there's much more to the conversation continues, and you could join the program at any time. 616-774-2424. By the way, this voting by mail thing, this isn't going away anytime soon. It's the easy solution, right? Just cut it out immediately. Everyone votes same day. We get the results same day. All of it. No, it's not going to happen, folks. They've got power now, and they're never letting go. We've got to learn to play the game by the rules that they've set out, and we got to play it better. That's just the absolute fact of the matter.
Where the truth isn't negotiable. It's West Michigan Live with Justin Barclay on News Radio Wood 1300 and 106.9 FM.
Have you ever felt depressed about work, only to have your dad be like, "Why are you so down?" So you told him you hate your job, and he said, "Well, you better talk yourself out of it."
All right, so listen. This is something that I think is important. I want to make sure I reiterate it for you. Okay. There's a lot of talk about whether the candidates were good or not, and whether Trump's over or not. Folks, it doesn't matter who you run. It doesn't matter who the candidates are. All of this, Ron DeSantis, Donald Trump, who should run and who's the better. I get it. I understand that people are going to have opinions. And I'm not getting involved in that. What I'm telling you is I think that that's the distraction. The real issue that we have to deal with immediately, if not sooner. The real issue is, believe it or not, is this mail-in data game that they're running. We have got to get a handle on this, and anybody in Republican leadership, and I understand there's a big whole thing in Michigan right now, and there will be at the national level as well, about who's going to run to head the party. But anybody that's serious, and I'm not really going to talk about all that today, but at some point, I'm sure we'll have those conversations. And when we do, anybody that doesn't talk about how we fight this, how we fight back in the data, and how these elections are being run right now, they're just not serious. So I'm throwing that out there for you right now. You must have that they address this issue, whether they want to run for Republican party chair or here in Michigan or throughout the nation. We've got to get this under wraps. All right. But that's just my humble opinion. Facebook, I'll say hi to you in just a moment. We got to get back on the air and grab some phone calls too. Hang on. Stand by, folks. It's a bit of a Rona report from the high priest of health himself, ladies and gentlemen, St. Anthony of Wuhan. The patron saint of pandemics, Mr. Booster, Tony Fauci. Anderson, it could be problematic. I'm telling you right now. I can see right now the committee's forming in the House as we speak. He had to give a little testimony in the social media censorship case. And the government wants to keep all this testimony, wants to keep this. He was deposed along with some others. Wants to keep it all private and not let it be released. And it looks like they're going to win. They're going to win that battle too. The attorneys general throughout several states involved in that lawsuit. CNN on the boosters. And by the way, we'll have more on the Rona Report coming up on the after show. But I just want to give you a taste of what's happening. NBC News telling parents to jab their kids and shun the unjabbed over the holidays. I had to take a look. I really did. I had to take a look at the date on this article. I couldn't believe it, but it was recent. In Ontario, our neighbors to the north, Premier Doug Ford urging masking stops just short of imposing a mandate. And then CNN. Health officials say they're planning to push this week for people to get boosted in order to offer maximum protection around Thanksgiving, but overall uptake remains low. That means people aren't buying it and they're done. They're done getting poked. They don't want it anymore. And apparently they didn't work the way we were told that they would. So there you have it. Couple of stories, more in a Rona Report full length, coming a little later in the after show this morning on News Radio Wood 1300 and 106.9 FM. Let me get to the phones. Kim in Spring Arbor. Appreciate you being here with us today. How are you, Kim?
I'm good, Justin. And real quick, just thank you for giving all of us a platform. I just want to say, and I hope there's so many listening, do not give up on America. I'm not. I believe in the people of this country so much. I'm getting a little emotional here because of what we're bearing witness to. I just believe in our country. I truly, truly do. And I'm not giving up. I'm not giving up on humanity. None of it.
Well, I don't disagree, Kim. I feel the same way. I think the fight. In fact, I am resolved to fight even harder. I am resolved to hunker down and come out stronger. I think we've got a fight ahead of us. Look, no matter what happens, there are some good things. And here's what I'll remind you. And thank you for the call, Kim. I appreciate that. Here's what I would hang on one second. I'm gonna give her because she's such a fighter. I want to give her something from my store. John, can you get her information? Maybe a T-shirt. Maybe I give her a T-shirt. I'll let her decide. Maybe a hoodie. I got the God Wins mugs out there too. I got the coffee mugs. I got a lot of different things that we maybe a book. I don't know. We'll let her decide. But here's the issue, and you're not hearing a lot of it because the other races are much more high profile. But looks like Republicans are going to take back the House. There is going to be a fight there. At least it appears that way right now. There will be some investigations there. A lot of this inside baseball politics stuff. We're supposed to be excited and thinking about Trump versus DeSantis, and we're right now supposed to be divided and split. Well, I still think Trump can get it done. Well, I don't know. I think I like DeSantis better, and wait a minute. I am not giving up on Trump. So it's all of this. We're supposed to be arguing with each other. But what we really ought to do right now is unite stronger than ever before, and here's why. We had big wins in places like Ottawa County, particularly. The county commission completely flipped, right? From some of the Republican, quote-unquote, rhinos, some of these people that allowed these crazy things to happen over the last couple of years. They've been thrown out. Parents, regular people stood up and put them on notice and booted them out. It also happened in school boards. There were school board races all across Michigan, not just Michigan, but throughout the country, where school boards, parents got involved and took school boards back. It's powerful. It's not going to happen overnight, folks. I know we heard a lot of talk about the red wave, the red tsunami, and things like that. This type of thing, not going to happen overnight. It was built decades. It took them decades to build this, what they put together, what's happening in our schools with our kids. But we are going to fight back, and we're never going to back down. Posted this last night. The election is over, but we can still guarantee these results. How about this? God is still on the throne. The Bible still has all the answers to every problem. The tomb is still empty. Just a reminder of what's really important. And when many thought, I would be devastated the day after election, of course I felt, I felt the same things you felt. But it didn't last long because all I had to do was refocus, put my eyes back where they belong. My faith, my hope, my joy. None of it comes from my circumstances. Certainly none of it comes from some elected yahoo in Lansing or D.C. Real faith, real hope, real joy comes from a much higher power.
Asking the tough questions. It's West Michigan Live with Justin Barkley on News Radio Wood 1300 and 106.9 FM.
All right, folks, back into the commercials. We got a little break for our bottom of the hour news here, it appears. Let me make sure I get this done. Okay. I suggest you click share over there on Facebook if you haven't seen this already. I'll show you where to go find it. It's just a couple of posts down on the page. So you'll see the live stream, then my post from this morning, and then that post from last night is right there underneath. So go click share on people what's important. And no, we will not stop fighting. But let's remember, we fight our battles on our knees. God's already won this, folks. So we are walking through. We're walking through all the I guess the steps that we're supposed to take, the predetermined steps. Battle's already won. All right, let's check real quick. Let me see. I'm gonna say good morning to some folks over on Facebook. Let me see. Joyce, watch from New York. I tell you what, some great news in New York too. Lee Zeldin and what he was able to pull off there helped us take the House back, it sounds like. Lots of folks talking about Lee Zeldin maybe being the chair of the National Party. Kim, good morning. Pops, good to see you. Connie, good morning. Sherry, Bruce, Tim, Lauren, Don, Kim, Jessica, Steve. I've heard that, Steve. So Steve is proffering a possibility. Would Trump announce that he's going to run for the Speaker of the House? I think those elections take place today, though. I've heard that, and I thought that might be kind of interesting. But I think those elections take place today. Bonnie worked for the Zeldin campaign. How cool is that? I'll tell you, it was so close. That was, to me, he fought one of the toughest. There's a leaked document, Steve. Share it with me. Send it over. Let me see the leaked document. I'm not saying it's possible. I just think it's impossible. I just think that it's because of the timing of everything right now. So I don't know. Pastor Tim Cross won, Steve says, and his son-in-law Brandon in the school board election. Praise God. And it was white. Like we had Ross on. I have to have him back on. I'm going to be doing that so you can hear more of the big wins that took place. Al says, God is great, but isn't paying my bills. I chuckle. But here's what I want you to understand. This is tough. I believe God provides. I've seen it in my life every time. So yes, there's the world and what's happening around us. And of course, the economy and the things that, but I also believe in 2020, I kind of had the same realization. I just heard that, okay, you're going to come out better through all of this, no matter what happens. So that is something. That's something altogether, and altogether different. Let me see. Hang on. Can you hear this if I play this for you? Get a talkback feature on there. Let me see what this is. Amen. Could you hear that guy? Amen to that. EC Shadrach. I don't know what his name is, though. His first name. All right, let me see. Stand by. Here we go, folks.
Sleep better. Enjoy the holidays. Take some of the stress off the table. Let's make 2023 the best year for you and your family. Keep your money safe. Call Jacobs Financial.
Health risks. Was playing 3 times a week and it was all on turf. Crumb Rubber Turf. Spotlight on America investigates. There's no answers because there's no studies. Crumb Rubber Turf. Exposure risks.
Tonight at 11 on News Channel 3. Let's put $1,000 in your hand with our grand morning giveaway. Just watch News Channel 3 weekday mornings from 4:30 to 7 for the phrase of the day. The gift card. Watch our.
Hi, it's Glenn Beck, and I invite you to join me along with Stu this morning at 10:06 for the very latest on the news. It's aptly named the Glenn Beck Program. Wood Radio.
Hey, folks, we have a big day coming up tomorrow. Don't forget, it is our turkey drop, Mel Trotter Ministries. We are, times are tough right now. The economy is tougher than ever. A lot of folks suffering, and we've heard about what could possibly happen. Thanksgiving going to be much more expensive for a lot of families. Some may not even be able to afford the turkey dinner. That along with the turkey shortage. So we're helping to raise money and, of course, turkeys for those families. Poor Paula Deen. She loves that butter. So you can help us donate a turkey, or if you'd like to give just some money, that's fine too. I suggest, but it all goes a long way because it goes to food banks all throughout West Michigan, all up and down the state. And of course, we'll be broadcasting live tomorrow throughout the entire day, 7 to 7, to raise money, and of course, turkeys for families who need the most. And we'd love to see, this audience is so generous. They come together and they do such great things every year. Boy, I can't wait to see what happens this year.
Hack into the latest in tech and how it affects you and your world. This is Tech Talk Tuesday on Wood Radio's West Michigan Live.
Tech Tuesday. By the way, just get this message from Ladina. She said, I'm not seeing a turkey shortage at Meijer. Still a good price this week, 55 cents a pound. I think there are going to be some good deals, good stores in some places. You'll be able to get what you need to get. Particularly with some of those, they are doing what they'll do is they'll give you a good deal. These are doorbusters. These are loss leaders. These are things that they want to do to get you to spend money on other things too. So, chances to get those turkeys together and get them out, I think we're still going to be in a good position there. Let's talk instead of turkey, some tech. Good morning, Trent Kennedy, Affordable Live Store, Lake Michigan Drive in Standell, along with Grand River Tech. Appreciate you being here with us today, Trent. How are you?
Hey, good morning, Justin. Doing good.
Lots to discuss, lots to talk about today in the world of tech. And we took a week off last week and we did our, basically the election day coverage, sucked the oxygen all out of the room. We're going to talk a little bit about election. One of the things I'm going to lead with, Trent, is particularly the voting machines in Arizona. They had an issue there with machines. I played some of that audio earlier. The machines were having problems early on in the day of voting, and folks all over seeing the issues with either the machine or the tab, the scan when they had voted. This is what some of the people were saying. In fact, I've got some of the audio here. I'll play for folks to be able to hear this.
None of the machines were reading very well.
My first ballot, they tried to scan about 8 times. It was rejected every time.
They were saying that the tabulating machines were down.
The line was at least 20 people at the tabulators because of the ill-functioning tabulators that should have been properly tested and ready.
No matter who you vote for, these machines have to be tested. They have to be ready to go, and they have to be near zero flaws, if any at all. So because it's so important, we've got to have faith in our system. And right now, folks in Arizona, in fact, folks throughout the country are losing it little by little there. What did they encounter, and what needs to happen in order to keep any system, not just voting systems, safe and functioning?
Justin, we work with people and businesses every day with computers and technology, and the system's got to work. You can have some forgiveness for a very, very low percentage of downtime. People understand that in the business world. When you're talking elections, which is a sovereign, sacred right to vote, the process itself to vote should support that. And when you have machines that are on election day, when they've had a year or two to prepare this equipment, to test this equipment, and it's got to work, and you have one day to do it, and any type of business IT situation, we would be fired 100 times over. We would be liable. It would be a very sticky situation. And so if I can help my customers in a reliable fashion, in an IT world on this scale, Justin, when you have the government involved and third-party contractors and oversight, supervision, and all this kind of stuff, and they still can't pull off a basic task, this thing, take your ballot and count it, it does definitely beg the question of why.
It raises an eyebrow or two. Let's just put it that way. That's for sure. Hey, let's cross over to another government issue. This is schools, in fact, in Jackson, Hillsdale County. Schools canceled Tuesday due to a ransomware attack. I don't know this story, but this is really concerning. What happened here in Trent? What information could possibly be out there right now? What do we need to know about this?
So, Justin, this is a sad story. It happens all over. It doesn't hit the news most of the time when it happens because it's a school system. It's very public. It hit the news, but it's a very simple ransomware attack. Everything in the school's network, more or less, is locked down and not functional until they pay a ransom. Even if they do pay the ransom, often it's not unlocked or it's still messed up. So the protection for ransomware attack is simple. It's a redundant backup. It's a separate backup of all your critical infrastructure, and it's air gapped. What that means is your backup system is not linked. It's not live. It's not connected to you. So if your main system gets a hack, you can shut off the main system and you can restore with the backup system. And granted, that still might be, a day or two. If you have a really quick system, it could happen in, less than a day. But this is a sad situation because they shut down the phone, the heating, cooling system, security camera systems are probably affected by that, Justin. And all of our infrastructure resides on those networks. And it's something that I don't know all the specific details of if they had an air gap backup system, but if it's taking a week to restore, most likely they did not have an air gapped backup system, which is not a big complex thing. A lot of people don't have it because it costs a little more. But what did they just pay to patch this up? Was it worth to cheap out a few dollars on that air gapped backup system?
We are watching some of these stories unfold in front of our eyes on a daily basis. And to me, what you're talking about is common sense, but this continues to happen. It's all over. In fact, there was a big hack. I don't know if you've been paying attention to this FTX, this cryptocurrency company. It's the whole thing. It's corruption, it sounds like, along with politics involved in this. But there was also a hack inside this cryptocurrency company. Who knows what happened, where the money went. But lots of money on the line, and it looks like it was stolen by hackers in some places.
Justin, billions of dollars is involved. It's one of the biggest hacks in all history. These cryptocurrencies are, as a whole, very secure, but because they're so secure, it's hard to track a hack and a vulnerability if there is one. And so the average end user has really virtually impossible time of preventing that kind of thing. Locally, there's things that can be done to prevent that. If you're a cryptocurrency user, you're relying on the third party software hosted in some other country, and they're very private, they're very secure in general, and so it's really hard to get into what, where, who, and why. And I don't know if we're ever going to get that information, because in the IT world, you can make a system extremely difficult, if possible, to detect who hacked, when, where, and how.
Another story coming out today about layoffs. And in fact, we saw Elon Musk layoffs in Twitter. Now more tech. The parent company for Facebook, Meta, announced big layoffs last week. We didn't get a chance to cover that story because of the election. But now Amazon talking about layoffs as well in the tech world. This is all a function of what's happening with the economy. Well, essentially, interest rates is causing a lot of this pain, and these folks are trying to get ahead of it, Trent.
Yeah, Justin, this is a trend that's happening across the board. These companies are doing this for damage control. The fact that they're announcing this early, instead of last minute, kind of quietly trying to sweep the layoffs under the rug, means that there's probably much larger layoffs that are planned, and they'll probably come out later with announcements saying, hey, we underestimated the layoffs needed. And also, too, nobody knows exactly what's happening with the economy. So this is just a precursor of potentially more. I hope not. I hope these people can retain their jobs. I hope these companies can be successful. But the big tech world is definitely hurting at the moment for some short-term losses.
Our good friends at Affordable iStore and Lake Michigan Drive and Stand Out. If you ever have questions about your machine or your device, whatever it might be that you're dealing with, they're happy to help you with any of those. Affordable iStore, Lake Michigan Drive and Stand Out, and Grand River Tech for your bigger solutions. Maybe you got a business and you want to make sure that you've got everything locked down. And sir, Trent Knibbie and the folks there are the ones to make sure you reach out to. Trent, always a pleasure, my friend. Thank you so much for being here with us today.
Thanks, Justin.
You got it, brother. Talk to you soon. God bless. Coming up more, and the after show is just getting fired up. We're getting geared up, folks. I was just sent an article that I don't know. I'm going to have to dig into this. But claims to have a bit of a scoop on what Trump is really going to announce later tonight in his big announcement live from Mar-a-Lago. What could that possibly be? Oh, man, folks, never a dull moment. Never a dull moment around these parts. I want to say thanks to our good friends making this program possible today. Lots of good folks that make it possible every day, but of course the folks at Affordable iStore, always a pleasure. Back right after this. All right, Steve, I got your document. So, folks, Steve has sent me a document. That's why I like the chat. By the way, if you ever want to send something to me or you need me to see something, today I've got it open to Andrew's over there. Andrew's stuff hanging out over in the VIP chat, and you can just shoot me. It's like a direct message goes right to me. Sometimes I see the text messages. Sometimes I don't. Right away. I try to look at those as much as I can, but sometimes I don't always see them. Emails too. But the VIP chat over on Locals right now, if you're a supporter, you can send me something immediately, if not sooner. It's free to become a member over on Locals, justinbarclay.com/locals, justinbarclay.com/locals. Hang on, we're getting back on the air here in just moments, folks. Jam-packed after show is on the way. The fastest hour in radio rolls right on through. Well, thank the folks at Mentality today for jumping in and joining us as one of our latest sponsors, the newest. When you feel low energy, motivation, weight gain, muscle loss, fatigue, you're tired all the time, there could be an answer. It could be you're suffering from low T. Low testosterone could be the problem. They've got solutions for you. Mentality, a local healthcare facility specifically dedicated to helping men feel and perform at their very best. And guys, we need you. We need you in the fight. Not only to be the best husband you could be, the best father, but we need you to show up in the fight. No matter what we're facing on a daily basis, we need you. They've got FDA approved testosterone treatments, board certified physicians who work with most insurance, and you can get more information when you check out Mentality today at lowtusa.com. Go to low T, that's the letter T, lowtusa.com. That's lowtusa.com. And take your life back today, folks. No more waiting. Okay, so I've got something here that Steve just sent me. We'll get into this a little bit further in the after show, but I don't know. This is the only place I've seen this. I don't know whether you trust something like this or not. Yeah, well, this is the thing. You see news or stories passed around so much. You got to be careful. So far, my discernment is the alarm bells are going up. But I'm going to tell you. I'll tell you what it says. I'll give you the full details on this. It claims to be the truth about what Trump is really going to announce tonight at 9 p.m. Now, I don't know. Lots of folks just feel like this is going to be an announcement that he's going to run president in 2024. There are some saying this leaked document there might be more to the story. So we'll get into that coming up in just a little bit. Mike in Wyoming, appreciate you waiting with us today. Mike, how are you?
Good, Justin. But I just want to bring up that gentleman that called in yesterday. I believe his name was John from Cliftonville. I hear you, brother. I agree 100%. He talked about the election and the outcome and what's to be. Justin, the way I see it, you wonder why why Biden didn't talk about COVID when he was over there in China. Justin, COVID was a gift to them.
Oh, yeah.
It's their biggest tool in their arsenal. That's how they got in, and now we can't get them out.
Yeah, they didn't talk about that. He didn't talk about a couple of different things while he was over there. It kind of made me scratch my head, But, that's what these guys, I don't know if you saw Biden dressed up. He had his fancy jacket on going to meet Xi, and the rest of them all dressed up like they're in some sort of. And it was a very strange event altogether. But you're right. All of this was a gift to them. We've got to realize they've changed things. We've got to quit, and we got to quit playing the game or running elections, campaigns the way that they did in the 90s or before the 2020. We've got to get into it. We've got to embrace this whole mail-in thing, and we've got to start using it, the data, all of it. Now, I know I keep talking about this. It's a little heady, this kind of stuff in the weeds. In the coming weeks, we'll talk more about what the Democrats are actually doing, why they've been able to do what they've done. Forget the fraud, because there is question about that, but there are other pieces of this that I think also have to be looked at. There are things they are doing legally that far surpass what we are trying to do and what we do on a daily basis. So we got to take a look at all of it. Hey, thank you, brother. I appreciate the call. He's right. Folks feeling frustrated about this, but don't give up. The talkback feature on the iHeartRadio app. Just click that microphone. You can sound off about anything, rant, rave, ask a question. It's right next to the play button there, thanks to our good friends at MKD Funeral Homes. Amen. To the caller who called earlier, said, I'm not giving up. I love this country and I believe in it. Not giving up. Don't give up. The fight just got a little more real, a little more serious. So, Biden, by the way, just talking about the climate. I don't know if you caught this. He's over the climate summit over in Egypt. And then they went, where else did they go? They went somewhere in Asia. He's out there in the ASEAN summit, the Asian nations. And he's out there. Did you see him reading? Like he could barely read. So, as a matter of fact, one of the, and this is none of this stuff I'm getting ready to tell you none of this is any surprise. But he botched the names of one of the countries who was hosting. It wasn't Colombia. No, it was a different country altogether.
And now that we are back together here in Cambodia, I look forward to building even stronger progress than we've already made. And I want to thank the Prime Minister for Colombia's leadership in the ASEAN chair.
You just said it.
And now that we are back together here in Cambodia.
You said Colombia. Well, none of this is, look, I play this stuff for you, and you're not going to be surprised by any of it. None of this is, but again, we've got to play it. You've got to see it. You've got to know what's going on. Hopefully it makes a dent at some point. Some people are so far out that they're beyond any hope. Biden here having trouble reading again.
I can't have trouble reading this.
Yeah.
Reuters.
Trouble reading it. It's more than that.
Netanyahu both.
Folks, what I'm telling you is it doesn't matter who they run at this point. The Fetterman, the dead guy in Pennsylvania that got elected, Biden, he'll get elected again. Everybody's talking about Biden's not going to run in 24. Not going to run in 24. Well, they got everything perfected right now. Why wouldn't they run him in 24? Now, I know he's not very popular. So they need somebody a little new. They kind of need a new face that they can kind of, I think, smoke screen you with. They need a little bit of a new face out there, somebody who you could, maybe I could buy this person one. Biden running again, you may not be able to buy that he would win, no matter who he faces. And again, he was told he could only take a few questions, and he announced that fact to folks.
I'm happy to take questions, and I'm told there are going to be 4 questioners, but I'm not going to do 10 questions from each questioner. All right? Let's make that clear at the outset here.
It came off its note card, too, I'm sure. One more crazy thing. This is out of the U.S. soccer team Go Woke. Go Broke. The rainbow logo. This has been replayed. Now, they're out playing soccer somewhere. And look, I played when I was a kid, but I played every sport, basically. I know it's hard to believe now. But they've redesigned, I guess it's a World Cup in Qatar. They've redesigned their logo, the crest on their shirts. Apparently now it includes the rainbow. It's not just a red, white, and blue logo anymore. It is now a rainbow logo. People are all upset about that. But I mean, again, folks, it's soccer. So I don't know. I get all that upset about soccer, but there it is. The old logo, the new logo. But if you see, like, this is in some sort of hallway or something here. This also includes not just a rainbow, but there's all the other extra that are on the top of the flag. You know, they got to get all of them in there now. It's not just, there's all kinds of different colors added in there too. Boy, oh boy. You want to talk about inclusive? The red, white, and the blue includes everyone, folks. Even you crazy folks who think differently. God bless you. You still have the right and the freedom to do it under the red, white, and blue. They want to throw it all away for their new flavor of the day. Hey, we got more to get into. What is Trump's real announcement tonight? I don't know. We'll tell you what this latest theory is. We'll get into that, plus lots more. We'll cover it all tomorrow. Appreciate you being here with us today. The fastest hour in radio has flown by. Back tomorrow morning at 9:06. God willing. Make it a great day. God bless, folks.
Casino Studios.
You know, I don't think folks realize this, but what I just said was right. You know, the red, white, you're talking about inclusive, the red, white, and blue covers it all. The red, white, and blue covers it all, folks. All right, I've got a short after show, so I've got to get to it because I've got meetings I got to get to. But here's the good news. I think tomorrow you might get 3 hours of me. I think I might be live for 3 hours during the full. Abel, I'm still here hanging. I don't know if he's just looking at the chat over there. I'm still here. Folks, I'm not going anywhere, but I do have a shortened after show today. And I got an article here that my producer John just brought me. You gotta see this. Hang on. Stand by. We'll get things rolling. Welcome to the after show, folks. It's the show after the show. That's why we call it the after show. Never a dull moment. Never enough time to get to everything that we want to get to during our full live show. That's why we kicked off the after show. You demanded it. You asked for it. We said, let's give the people what they want. Imagine that. What a wild idea. Give the people what they want. So here we are, folks, in a little bit of a shorter, abbreviated after show today because I got some meetings I got to get to. But tomorrow, I think you might get 3 hours. 3 full hours, whether you like it or not. God bless. I love what this guy said earlier. Lots of folks sounding off you can in the chat, the behind-the-scenes live stream, lots of good stuff. In fact, we had things talked about earlier today on the show that somebody mentioned. Steve brought it up. I said, let's get into that. Coming up, we will. Dozens of ballots missing in Santa Clara County after being dumped. This is the great state of California. Got that one coming up a little bit later on. NBC News tells parents to jab their kids and shun the unjabbed. And what's the truth about the people running the elections in Arizona? I'm always going to call it Arizona from now on. I am. I love the name, so I'm going to call it Arizona from now on. There was a story done that I think needs to be talked about here. They shine some light on the Jack Posobiec. Shared some of this on his Twitter feed the other day, and I think this is important. Top Maricopa County election officials being accused of some improprieties. No wonder it took them forever to count all those votes. They just keep counting until they find enough for Democrats to win. Texas Governor Greg Abbott calling for an investigation of Harris County over election irregularities. We'll get to that, too. Attorney General Paxton in Texas investigating Zuckerberg-funded group for alleged partisan electioneering efforts in 2020. That is on the agenda. What else is on them? It's like a buffet. I have a veritable cornucopia here, if you will. A buffet, a smorgasbord. And much more. So hang on. Let me get to all of this in just moments. First, I want to thank the folks at Patriots Switch making this program possible today. There are only 2 million people. Already 2 million people have made the switch to this Patriot alternative. We talk about voting at the polls, yeah, and they want to mess with that. But you know what they can't mess with? Your money. They cannot mess with where you spend your dollars, your hard-earned money on a daily basis. If you're able to switch your money, your dollars over to a Patriot solution, PatriotSwitch.com would like to help you today. And it's easy. You don't have to spend more. You don't do anything crazy. Just stop spending money with the big box stores. Stop spending money with all the woke conglomerates and make the switch. to Patriot Switch. When you do that, what you're going to find is that you will be spending money with a family-owned manufacturer here in the USA, supporting jobs and families right here at home. You go to the big box store, you even go to a mom and pop, and you'll buy things that you think you're doing the right thing, right? Even some of these brands, they're all owned by small groups, well, big conglomerates, but they're all in a small number, right? I mean, it's a handful that own all of these different brands. Coca-Cola, right? Procter & Gamble, Nestle, Kraft Heinz, they own all these little brands that you're thinking maybe I'm making independent choices, but at the end of the day, it all goes back to feed the beast. And what does that do? The money goes back into the coffers of these big woke conglomerates. Then they go buy more ads on mainstream media. So you're talking fake news and all the weird woke junk like Disney that are trying to shove down your throats and our kids same time. Pull the plug. Stop spending your hard-earned dollars with them. Make the switch. When you go to patriotswitch.com, you're going to put your name, your number, and your email in, and a patriot just like me will reach out and say, hey, this is what we're doing. This is how you can make a difference by switching your hard-earned dollars over little by little. Don't have to do a lot, but we can each do a little. We can each do our part. Thanks to the folks at Patriot Switch. Patriotswitch.com. That's patriotswitch.com. All right, so let's start with the election stuff. Listen to this story. And this is an interesting story. Like I said, Jack Posobiec tweeted it. Oh, you know, the elections are all on the up and up. Kerry Lake said, wait a minute. Arizonans, they know. They know. They know what's going on. She knows. She said they believe it's all BS. They know what's going on. They see the truth. Well, we had all the election issues with the machines. You had all these on top, one on top of the other. These parents and individuals going to vote, and they can't get out and they can't vote. Republicans, day of, most likely. And they continue to see problems. A lot of them disenfranchised, told to go someplace else. But this one, this story, this is the story I thought, wow, I haven't heard much about this one yet. Maricopa election officials launched a PAC in 2021 to stop MAGA candidates. Wait a minute. So you're telling me the same people that are running the elections, because this is interesting. Katie Hobbs, who runs the elections throughout the state, the Secretary of State, she refused to recuse. She would not step away and say, hey, you know, we got to have somebody independent doing this. We got to have somebody else taking a look at all this. No, she would not do that. You're telling me that people at the county level in Maricopa, they say are Republican. Well, this, folks, is truly Republican in name only. These are folks who are never Trumpers. They hate Trump. The PAC called for pro-democracy Republicans of Arizona, claims on their website that they are, quote, fighting to keep our democratic institutions alive. So what that means is we are Democrats who are telling people we're Republicans. That's what they're saying. It has been revealed that embattled Arizona's Maricopa County Recorder, Stephen Richer, and Supervisor Chairman Bill Gates, these are the folks you see at the forefront of all the issues right now in Maricopa. They slow walking all the votes and everything, the tallies. Well, in this article, Ari Hoffman over on the Post-Millennial Rights, it has been revealed that these two individuals started a political action committee to stop MAGA candidates in 2021. And yet they're the ones running elections? Folks, it doesn't get any more dirty. It doesn't get any more corrupt than this. If this is real, this is bad news. Bring back the tarring and the feathering. That's what people will say. Run these people out on a rail. Here's the truth, they say. On November 17th, Meg Cunningham from Kansas City Beacon tweeted that Richer, the Maricopa County Recorder, is launching a PAC to support Republicans running for non-federal Arizona offices who acknowledge the validity of the 2020 election and condemn the events of January 6, 2021 as a terrible result of the lies told about the November election. Richard retweeted her saying, thanks to a few generous donors, this is now launching. Join me if you care about traditional Republican stuff. Interesting. She says, free people, free markets, rule of law, but also don't believe in conspiracies about the 2020 election. No conspiracies. There's nothing to see here. Or that you don't believe that January 6th was a tourist event. Oh, my. The PAC called Pro-Democracy Republicans of Arizona claims on their website they're fighting to keep our democratic institutions alive. The website's sparse on details, aside from how to donate, but it does have a few sentences on their mission. Arizona election wasn't stolen. We Republicans simply had a presidential candidate who lost. We had many other candidates who won. It's time we Republicans accept and acknowledge that fact. They go on to say candidates come and go, but our democratic institutions are long-lasting. Yeah, oh boy. This is just amazing. Political pundits, candidates, and others have continued to slam Arizona's Maricopa County Elections Department for ongoing failures in their election system. Almost a week after Election Day, the county, as well as the state, are some of the last to not have candidates declared as winners as votes continue to be counted. Secretary of State gubernatorial candidate Democrat Katie Hobbs in charge of overseeing the election after failing to recuse herself. So there you have it, folks. The story they don't necessarily want you to know about. Here's another one. Revealed top Maricopa County election official donated to far left resistance group Patriots. Patriots is a hybrid PAC that describes itself on Twitter as a group of dedicated researchers monitoring and exposing right-wing extremism and other threats to democracy. On Monday, it was revealed that top Maricopa County election officer Stephen Richer, who helped oversee elections in Arizona, donated to the far-left resistant group Patriots. Data available on the Federal Election Commission's website shows Richard donated $40 in July of this year. And then he goes on to talk about his PAC, that one I just told you about. Thanks to a few generous donors, this is now launching. Join me if you care about traditional Republican stuff. Yada, yada, yada. We just told you about all that. So Richard out there donating money to. So it's just, look. Folks are on to this stuff. And you can't hide this forever. You can't hide it forever. Dozens of ballots missing in Santa Clara County after being dumped. This story here coming from ABC 23 in Bakersfield. Thousands of ballots continue to be processed statewide. This was from yesterday. Santa Clara officials are responding to allegations of ballots being disregarded. Some ballots are allegedly found dumped along a ravine off Highway 17 in Santa Cruz County. Do you remember the same thing happened in 2020? We had whole entire trucks disappeared and ballots dumped and dropped and left. But nothing to see here, folks. There's nothing to see here. Texas Governor Greg Abbott calling for an investigation of Harris County over election irregularities. Republican Governor Greg Abbott on Monday called for an investigation into Harris County's handling of its elections during the November 22 midterms. I'm calling on the Secretary of State, the Attorney General's office, and the Texas Rangers to initiate investigations into allegations of improprieties in the way that the 22 elections were conducted in Harris County, he said in a press release. The county in question includes the city of Houston, major metropolitan area, represented in Washington by several different congressional districts that include part of the county's boundaries. Abbott pointed to missing keys, insufficient paper ballots in Republican precincts, staffing problems, and other issues that plague voters throughout the electoral process. The allegations of election improprieties in our state's largest county may result from anything ranging from malfeasance to blatant criminal conduct. Holy smokes. Voters in Harris County deserve to know what happened. Integrity in the election process is essential. So he's got some stones. We'll see where that goes. Attorney General Kim Paxton there in Texas now saying he will investigate Zuckerberg-funded group for alleged partisan electioneering efforts in 2020, going back to 2020. Wait a minute. There was no issue with 2020, folks. What are we talking about? This is just conspiracy theory. This is just tinfoil hat wearing conspiracy theory. Don't get me started. I mean, come on. Texas Attorney General, he's issued a civil investigative demand to the Center for Tech and Civil Life. Now, this is a Tech and Civic Life. I think this is the group that did all the Zuckerberging in 2020. The investigation his office launched to determine whether it solicited donations under the pretext of, quote, protecting voters from COVID-19 while instead using the funds to support partisan electioneering efforts or election oversight roles normally left to the state and local officials. Now, you remember, this is Center for Tech and Civic Life, self-described nonpartisan nonprofit organization, according to the bios posted on its own website and other records, is led by individuals with distinctly partisan backgrounds. The AG office says CTCL's founder and executive director, for example, Tiana Epps Johnson, was among a group of inaugural Obama Foundation fellows who previously was the election administration director for a progressive grassroots organization, the New Organizing Institute. She also worked on the Voting Rights Project for the Lawyers Committee for Civil Rights. Her stated efforts have included combating misinformation about election. Texas, Florida, and other states have taken action to prevent Facebook and other tech companies from censoring Americans on their platforms. Oh, by the way, did you see how fast Florida got their results? Did you see how fast everything came back for Florida? We're still waiting on Arizona. Still waiting. There's nothing to see here, folks. Nothing to see here. Yep, I've got a little bit of a Rona report. From the High Priest of Health, Mr. Booster, St. Anthony of Wuhan, Tony Fauci. All right, I already did this earlier, so I don't have to do it again. Folks, this is the stories that you're going to want to hear from our Rona report. NBC out there telling parents to jab their kids, and, you may want to shun the unjabbed. Well, we know this is the crazy thing. We were told that this thing was going to protect people and all that. You remember all the, you got to get it so you can protect other people. It didn't even protect people that got it, apparently. But they're still running with this whole thing. It's all about dividing us. That's all this is. It's about creating division wherever they can. This story out of the Post: only COVID flu vaccines, wash hands, stay home if feeling unwell, avoid physical interaction with unvaccinated individuals. All part of the tips put on screen by NBC. You can see it all here. Avoid physical interaction with unjabbed individuals. I mean, are we going to go back to this? We're going to go back to this? I mean, all this is all BS. We know it. We're going to go back to this? NBC's medical correspondent, Dr. John Torres, provided his medical insight on an appearance this week where the network posted that graphic that families should keep their children away from unjabbed family and individuals. If it's not one, it's the other they're worried about, said the anchor to Torres, referring to illnesses. Frankly, why does RSV, they were talking about something completely different, hit kids so hard, and then it seems like it almost doesn't affect others? You know, the vast majority of kids, by the time they reach the age of 2, have already been infected. But as you mentioned, not that many actually get complications from it, and even less have issues with things like bronchitis or being hospitalized. The honest answer, he says, we don't exactly know why that is. We know there are a couple of factors involved. Number one, the younger they are premature, they're going to have some lung issues. It's a small airway disease. So if they have airway problems, that can cause an issue. If they're smoking in the house, if they're exposed to secondhand smoke, they can also lead to complications and risk of issues. while Torres was answering, a graphic appeared on the screen that said, tips for protecting your kids, as I showed you earlier. So I guess we're going to go back to this shunning your family members. The push is on. They want to push people. Even CNN admits this today. Health officials say they're planning to push this week for people to get boosted. Go out and get boosted, folks.
Let's get back to normal.
But nobody wants to get boosted. Now, why is that? Are we all just a bunch of science deniers? No. People are watching and they're saying, like, this doesn't, none of this adds up. It either doesn't work like they said it was going to work, or, I'm done. They just don't want to do this. They're just all kind of waking up to it. They say you ought to go out and get the boosters for maximum protection around Thanksgiving. Just 10% of people ages 5 and older received an updated booster dose. Because we're done, folks. We're just done with it all. We're done.
Come on, man.
It's over. Leave us alone. And then they go on to talk about RSV, which is a normal thing that comes out every year. We were warned about it when thankfully, no issues. And we had our daughter who was premature. They gave her something for it. I can't remember what they gave her. It wasn't I don't know what it was. 73% of the population, they say, despite 73% of the population having gotten their first 2 shots, according to data from the CDC, only 10% have had the latest booster. Published Monday said higher COVID jab rates among U.S. children could prevent thousands of pediatric hospitals. So that's it. If we don't get your kids jabbed, people are going to die. That's what they're out there saying right now. Ontario Premier Doug Ford, to the north of us, in Canada, in the Great White North, our Canadian brothers and sisters. Doug Ford out there urging masking. Stop just short of imposing a mandate. Ford, come on, buddy. Come on. We know the truth about all this stuff now. There's just no... Vladimir Zelensky is out there now pushing an end, a 10-point peace plan to end Russia's invasion. Now, isn't it interesting, this FTX company goes kaput? The same time it goes kaput, Vladimir Zelensky is out there telling people, we want peace now. So they had this whole scam where they sent money, taxpayer money. They would collect it, send it out to Ukraine. Ukraine would put it in FTX, and then they would send it to Democrats. Now the election is over, and FTX has gone kaput. And Zelensky all of a sudden wants peace. By the way, folks, as much as we hear about the times and the way things are these days, did you see some good news? The world's population reached 8 billion, making a milestone in human development. They say 8 billion. It just reached 8 billion. We have done our part, adding just 2 to the 8 billion. But we are proud to do that. Speaking of proud, I can't believe I didn't get to this earlier. I should have. Maybe I can do it tomorrow a little bit more so people hear it. The New York Times says the FBI had as many as 8 informants inside the Proud Boys in the months around January 6th Capitol attacks. Recent court papers raising questions about how much federal investigators were able to learn from them just before or after it took place. The real question is, how many actually were involved in making it happen? Why, again, are we hearing stories of the FBI's involvement in another situation that you were told, no, I can't, I'm not sure about this. Just another conspiracy theory. You can't ask questions. You cannot ask, whatever you do, folks, don't you dare ask questions. If you're like me, and you think to yourself, you know what? Some of this doesn't. I don't know. Maybe I'm not used to the Common Core math, but some of this stuff doesn't add up. You may want to head on over to justinbarclay.com/store. And in the store, grab one of my favorites, the tinfoil hat. It's on sale now, $24.99. You grab your tinfoil hat, T-shirts, sweatshirts, and yes, the mugs. These are like the cheapest right now. We've got some really great mugs over online right now for $11. That's like nothing. And we are running out of the books. Low stock. Better grab your book while you can. Good news, hope, and encouragement for trying times. Christmas is around the corner. I'm going to have to restock. I'm going to stock up again. I'm going to have to do that. I know. I think the sale is just wrapped up, but you can try to put in the code word diapers and save 20%. If it works, it works. I will we'll be fixing the glitch shortly, so get in there and get it done if you can. All right, one last thing, because Steve mentioned this earlier, and I'm going to throw this out there before I have to run off to another meeting. House Freedom Caucus memo details plan to elect Donald Trump Speaker of the House. Now, if this happened, I'm just going to go out. I'm going to tell you the odds of this. The odds of this, please don't get excited about this. But Steve Kennedy said, did you see this? This could be the real announcement tonight. Now, if that happens, again, I've told you, people are dismissing Donald Trump and all this. I said, do not write this man off. But if this happens, I mean, you talk about that would be a nuclear bombshell. A memorandum is circulating among members of the House Freedom Caucus that considers alternatives to McCarthy after his midterm failure. National File has exclusively, I guess it's just a blog, this National File. I don't know much about National File, but they has exclusively obtained a memorandum being circulated among members of the House Freedom Caucus considers the alternatives. The Speaker Trump HFC memo is a bold expression of no confidence in Kevin McCarthy just days after his disastrous performance. Trump memorandum sets forth a plan to elect President Donald J. Trump as Speaker of the House of Representatives. Can you imagine? This is why I don't think it'll happen. Because I'm getting excited about it. So I'm going to tell you realistically, I would not bet on this. Importantly, the document clearly articulates the legal and constitutional authority that the House may choose, and this is true, may choose a non-member. It doesn't have to be a member of the House. The memo derides McCarthy, and I believe Andy Biggs is also out there. They're looking at Andy Biggs right now. Arizona GOP rep Andy Biggs, former chair of the conservative House Freedom Caucus, challenging Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy. The memo also addresses the GOP failure of leadership to deliver on 5 key issues: Chinese infiltration into U.S. government, commerce, industry, and defense, the utter lack of serious investigations into the November 3rd, 2020 election operation, the pervasive infringement of our First Amendment rights of free speech, the hesitance to launch a Nuremberg 2.0 style military tribunal to hold those accountable for. This is why I don't think this stuff's going to happen. There's a lot of this stuff that's being talked about in here. Should these things happen? What are the odds? Now, if this does happen, you will see folks all over Twitter and the internet. The heads will be exploding. Just be careful not to get too excited about things, folks. Trust but verify. Use your discernment. We need that now more than ever. The announcement set with Trump tonight at 9, set tonight at 9 to happen. You're definitely going to want to be there watching the prime time announcement. Preparewithjustin.com. Thanks to the folks for helping us make this show possible today and every day. A 2-week food supply kit. Save $50. One of the cheapest you can get. And by the way, if you want to just start putting a little bit here and there together, a great way to do it. Go to preparewithjustin.com. We get credit everything that you buy when you go to preparewithjustin.com to the folks at My Patriots Supply. But preparewithjustin.com is our link. They help support the show. Lots of great stuff. And you never know what's coming, folks. That's why we've got to get ready no matter what. Because you never know. We might be someplace, well, we hear stories. The diesel shortages, this, that, and the other thing. We don't know what's headed our way, but get ready. Yeah, I have thought about doing some sort of a stream tonight during the president's announcement. I don't know. You send me a message. Let me know whether you think I should do that or not. I'm just not completely sold on it. I think I need to just let it kind of lay on its own. So I'm not sure. But I certainly would do a reaction. If he announced he's running for Speaker of the House, I'm sure we'd have to react to that. All right. That's it, folks. You don't have to go home, but you do have to get out of here. Actually, it's not true. You can stick around and chat with folks if you want. But that's it for me. Make it a great day. Wishing you the best. God bless, folks. Thank you to the folks at Mentality for making this broadcast possible every day. One of our newest sponsors. Man, if you've been noticing, maybe you're just not as sharp as you were a few years ago. Maybe you just wish you could get your edge back. Feel like you did 5-10 years ago. Low energy, motivation, weight gain, muscle loss. You're tired all the time. Maybe you're feeling irritable. It could be low testosterone. Well, they've got solutions to fix that problem with Mentality. Mentality, a local healthcare facility specifically dedicated to helping men feel and perform at their very best. They'd like to help you today. They're FDA-approved testosterone treatment, board-certified physicians who work with most insurance, and you can find out more. Folks, we need you, men. We need you in the fight. Is the best husbands, the fathers, and showing up each day in the fight, the calling that you were created to show up as. Go to lowtusa.com to find out more. Go to tusa.com. That's lowtusa.com and take your life back